Elior.
Joshua.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
To
likewise
another Torah portion. Yeah.
I mean, right back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, welcome to all of you who are listening at some future date. Hope that this is. Hope that these discussions are useful and enlightening, even, and also, and more than enlightening, we hope that they are motivating to inspire you to follow Yeshua, because the Torah is the spiritual, this is the spiritual main course. The Torah is what Jesus, Yeshua, and all of those ancient Israelites, this is what they ate, drank, slept, breathed, dreamed about. They would talk about these things when they would rise up in the morning, when they would lie down at night, when they were in their house, when they spoke with their children, when they're out by the way, speaking with their friends, their coworkers, whatever. These are the things. These were the spiritual sustenance for the people of Israel. And so we as Israelites, we claim this is meant to be our spiritual manna as well. So hopefully this will be good. We are this week, the Torah portion is Yitro, which is Hebrew for Jethro, who is Moses' father-in-law, Zipporah's father. So we'll hear a lot of cool things about him, actually. And so this starts in Exodus chapter 18 and goes through Exodus 20, verse 23. So, okay. So without further ado, you're gonna walk us through this one.
Yes, sir. All right. So, like you said, we're starting in Exodus 18. And so remember that Moses' father-in-law, his name is Jethro, obviously, and he's a Midianite. And Moses went to him to receive the priesthood, according to the text, but also D&C 84, I think
D&C 84, yeah. I don't know if it says... it does not say it in the text.
Oh, okay.
not in the text of the Torah portion.
Okay, that's right.
But that is modern revelation.
Okay, that is D&C 84.
Yeah,
so
Jethro's kind of a big deal.
He is a big deal. I mean... Israel had priesthood by virtue of being descended from Abraham, but the fact that Jethro was able to sort of mentor Moses in the ways of the priesthood, I mean, that's big. And right. From there, Moses counseled the children of Israel with that priesthood knowledge. So it's a huge deal, and it's very relevant to Latter-day Saints who claim that same priesthood line.
Yeah. And I think and we're actually going to see this in this portion, that the children of Israel, they maintained, it's kind of interesting. We call the lesser priesthood, the lower priesthood, we call it the Aaronic or Levitical priesthood. But the Aaronic priesthood existed before Aaron. Before Aaron and his descendants were kind of given the right to it. We're actually going to see that in this Torah portion. And so I think even while they were in Egypt, and although they were in, a state of apostasy, which is what brought about their slavery, they still retained some measure of priesthood, but I believe it was an Aaronic or like a proto-Aaronic priesthood, I guess. It wasn't called the Aaronic priesthood yet. I don't know what it doesn't. They don't give it a name.
Lesser priesthood, right?
The lesser priesthood, yeah.
Yeah.
Although they don't call it that either. But, in Doctrine and Covenants 84, the priesthood that Moses receives at Jethro's hand is Melchizedek.
Right.
So that, I think, had been, lost among the Israelites in Egypt. But had been preserved in Midian. Jethro was the King James says Jethro the priest of Midian, but the Joseph Smith translation says something different.
High priest.
It says the high priest of Midian, yeah. And of course we know there is Aaronic high priests, But I believe that the sense of high priest here is a Melchizedek high priest.
Well, and Joseph Smith states that to stand in the presence of God, one must hold the keys of the Melchizedek priesthood. And
so, how did Moses do that when
right.
he was visiting Jethro in Midian?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
At
obvious.
Sinai.
It's obvious, and the keys of the Melchizedek priesthood are received in Melchizedek ordinances, and it just seems apparent to me that Jethro administered those Melchizedek ordinances to Moses and made him a king and a priest.
Amazing.
After the Most High God.
Now, could Jethro? I mean, the Bible doesn't say anything about Jethro being a king, only priest. Mm-hmm. But guess what? The Targum Pseudo Jonathan says when Jethro, the prince of Midian, came.
Okay.
So, and prince, in our kind of modern speech, we think of prince as like the king's son or something, but the word prince actually means king as well, like it can, right?
It's this idea of sacral kingship, and this stops in Israel. Well, there is evidence that some of the kings of Israel also had Melchizedek priesthood, but there's like a split in the two offices of king and high priest. But one thing I love about the restoration is that this is restored through Joseph. In the higher ordinances of the Holy Temple, you are made both a king and a priest, a sacral king or a sacral queen. So, yeah, great. It's cool that Moses went outside his covenant people to receive that.
Amazing.
Reminds me of Jacob 5. Mm-hmm. The Lord has many branches.
Yeah, and they've been like moved around the vineyard. Mm-hmm. Now, just for those who are listening, I know we've talked about this before, but just briefly, who is Midian? Who are the Midianites?
Yeah, so one of Abraham's wives, Keturah, has a son named Midian.
Okay.
And so they're entitled to the Abrahamic blessings.
So they're Abrahamites.
Yeah, and they're obviously not entitled to the blessings of Isaac and Jacob. That's a different people, but there are really solid blessings that come through Abraham,
And apparently they had the priesthood as part of that.
Yeah, which is amazing.
It is. Yeah, really cool. Okay.
All right, well, there you go.
Good night.
Good night. Well, I guess that's a good prelude.
Yeah.
To the narrative here. So Jethro has heard all that God did for Moses and the children of Israel, and that the Lord brought them out of Egypt, and all the crazy things that happened there. I mean, total destruction, and the Lord was literally with them, and the sea parted, and all that. So Jethro hears about all this. So he brings Moses' wife and two sons, Zipporah, Gershom, and Eleazar, right? Mm-hmm. Eleazar. Jethro brings Moses' small family to him. Because Zipporah went to Egypt with Moses.
Yeah, they had when Moses gets his commission, the burning bush, he goes to Egypt, right, and brings Zipporah and his two sons. But at some point, he sends them back to Midian.
And that's not mentioned, I don't think.
It is.
Oh, it is mentioned. I missed that somehow.
Well, it's right here.
But it's not mentioned earlier in the text.
Right.
And I can imagine if I were Moses and the world was completely falling apart in Egypt, I definitely would send my wife and kids back.
Like, honey, I need you to go. Go stay at Dad's house for a couple of weeks, couple of months. I'll let you know when I'm okay.
Yeah,
right.
I would do that too.
Yeah,
that's just he's a loving husband, right? I mean,
yeah, right. But it says in verse 2, he took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back.
Right.
So yeah. I mean, it seems like there are people who make a big deal out of that. They're like, oh, there's this weird contradiction. It's like, do you, like, anyone who's like writing about this weird contradiction like has no family?
Yeah.
Like, they do not understand how a husband would be concerned for his wife and children. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of Moses and Zipporah and his children, they were fortunate in that way that they could leave, right? The Israelites were not yet freed. Like, they could just come and go, but
right.
Yeah, so anyway.
It's interesting that Moses seemed to be viewed as a free man then.
Yeah, he could just come and go. Yeah,
at least his wife and children. If
right.
Maybe Pharaoh, maybe like he didn't treat Moses that way because it's a Hebrew coming back into Egypt. But I don't know. That's interesting that they were given the liberty to leave like that. Or maybe they just snuck him out since it's only 3 people instead of, how many tens of thousands?
Right.
Maybe that's the explanation. But anyway, so remember the Israelites are camped at the base of Sinai or Horeb, which is called the Mount of God.
Yeah, amazing.
Which is where Moses initially beheld the face of God.
Right.
And let's actually talk about, if you're okay with this, the Pearl of Great Price for a second.
Okay.
Where does Moses have this vision of all? Would you say that this is also Horeb/Sinai? Because I don't think it mentions. I don't think
the name.
Yeah. Moses is just having this transcendent cosmic vision.
I've never thought about that. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, why would it be some other random mountain? Because
doesn't it say that he was? Doesn't it say he was like taken up into a high mountain? Or am I thinking of Nephi?
You might be right. Should I look it up real quick?
Yeah, let's pause that. Yeah.
Okay.
So you found it.
Yes.
Okay.
I found when Moses is caught up and has a vision of all. It's obviously in the Pearl of Great Price, and I'm just going to read a few verses. Okay. So Moses 1, starting with verse 1. The words of God, which he spake unto Moses at a time when Moses was caught up into an exceedingly high mountain. And he saw God face to face, and he talked with him, and the glory of God was upon Moses. Therefore, Moses could endure his presence. And I think I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I think that there's a good chance that was Sinai, or Horeb, or the mountain of God. That's really cool. And, that the wording there reminds me of Nephi's vision, which he has, where he sees the tree of life and he sees the condescension of God and all of that. But this is in 1 Nephi chapter 11, verse 1. Says, as I sat pondering in mine heart, I was caught away in the spirit of the Lord, yea, into an exceedingly high mountain. So same wording that Moshe uses. Exceedingly high mountain, which I never had before seen, and upon which I never had before set my foot.
That's key, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's pretty cool.
So you're postulating that this is Sinai.
I think it is Sinai, and this is interesting because,
real quick, Moses in the Pearl of Great Price, Moses has not yet redeemed the children of Israel.
Yeah.
It's the
when
Lord,
this vision occurs.
Yeah, when this vision in the Pearl of Great Price. So I think this is either the same encounter at Sinai or a different one. Maybe he goes back to receive more instruction or something like that. But yeah, that's my thought.
Okay, I love that.
Okay,
so Jethro is the king and the high priest of Midian, and we know just from ancient records and archaeological things that Midian was in Arabia. Like where basically current day Saudi Arabia is, at least the northern part. I don't know how far Midian extended down, but it was in Arabia, and
not in the land of Canaan.
Right. Yes,
it was south of Canaan.
Midian was in Arabia, and when Moses is in Midian, so he's in Arabia, when he goes up to the mountain, like he's tending sheep, right? And in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Galatians, Galatians 14. Oh gosh. I want to make sure I get it right.
No, I get you.
Galatians 14, verse 25, I think. Galatians, Ephesians. Oh. No, Galatians 4:25. There we go. Says, Mount Sinai in Arabia.
Oh, I didn't know that was in the New Testament.
It's in the New Testament. Yeah, it says Mount Sinai is in Arabia. But the Mount Sinai that, if you look in the the Bible dictionary or whatever, or a lot of other Bible dictionaries,
the vast majority of maps,
they'll put Mount Sinai in what's now called the Sinai Peninsula,
and even like Google Maps and Apple Maps.
Yeah.
It's just modern cartography.
Yeah.
Places Sinai in the Sinai Peninsula.
Yeah, and now there's debate about these things, okay? And there's actually there's probably a dozen candidates that people have put forward for where the true Mount Sinai is. But there's really two that stand out. One is the kind of traditional location, which is in the Sinai Peninsula, and it's called Mount Catherine as well, because Saint Catherine, Constantine's mother, when Christianity became the state religion, then she went around the Holy Land and planted Roman flags at all these holy sites to codify the pilgrimages and worship at these locations. And so for thousands, ever since then, that's kind of been the official. But that was just Constantine's mom.
So she arbitrarily declared where Mount Sinai was, and we've rolled with that ever since.
Yeah.
When Moses is in Arabia when he goes to Sinai, and Paul talks about Sinai being in Arabia.
In Arabia, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now there is another location that is in Arabia that is called Jabal al-Lawz, which means the mountain of almonds. That has a lot of really cool, has archaeological support for it, and we definitely won't be able to get into all of that.
You know what's crazy about that? The tree of life in Israel is an almond tree.
That's right.
What does Moses see on the top of Mount Sinai?
That's right.
The burning bush, the tree of life.
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, anyway, if you haven't ever heard of Jabal al-Lawz, you should check it out. It's near it's on the eastern border of the Red Sea, okay, in Arabia, and there's all kinds of cool things. There's a rock there, a beautiful split rock, and the top of the mountain is kind of blackened, it looks like it's burnt.
And you pointed out, not only is it indicated that it's in Arabia in the Moses story and by Paul, but where is Nephi? Are you going to get there?
Yeah, right. So this is another amazing. So this Nephi has this vision where he's caught up into an exceedingly high mountain. He used the same language as Moses, and we know that Lehi and his family are traveling on the eastern shore of the Red Sea, and they would be close to Jabal al-Lawz when Nephi has this vision. And so there's a good chance that that Lehi and his family were near Mount Sinai in their journey, and that Nephi was caught up in the spirit up into the mountain of the Lord to receive that vision. I think it's a very intriguing possibility.
So there are 3 scriptural supports for Sinai being in Arabia, whereas Mount Catherine, is that in Canaan?
No, it's in Egypt.
Oh, actually. It's in Egypt.
It's in Egypt still. I mean, it's in the historical and modern day boundaries of Egypt.
Not in Arabia at all.
It's like Moses would have had to stay. He didn't flee from Egypt. He stayed in Egypt.
Weird,
according to Catherine.
And it's like, say he went to Midian. So you're telling me he takes Jethro's flocks all the way back to
Egypt or something to graze? No.
Sinai's in Arabia. That's what we're saying.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
I'll stake my Roman flag on that.
Very good.
Okay. We ready?
Yeah, let's keep moving.
Thanks for bringing that one up. That's way cool. Okay. So Jethro comes, right? He brings the family, and I love this. Moses went out to meet his father-in-law. This is verse 7, 18 verse 7, and did obeisance and kissed him. And they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. And I love that. I love that picture. It kind of reminds me of when the Latter-day Saints will have built Zion and the city of Enoch will come down. and they're falling on each other's necks and weeping, and similar imagery.
Touching.
Yeah, for sure.
Ask each other about their welfare.
Yeah, I just love that.
Amazing.
Okay, so Moses tells Jethro everything that's happened. And, think about the things that have happened along the way. The manna, the bitter waters becoming pure, the water coming from the rock. So Moses is like recounting all of this, which Jethro hasn't yet heard, I'm guessing. And Jethro rejoices for the goodness of the Lord. And Jethro says, "Blessed be the Lord, or Yehovah, who hath delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and who hath delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that Yehovah is greater than all gods, for in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them." So, in these days, every nation had their own gods and their own Most High God. And Jethro now knows that Yehovah is truly the Most High God, the God above all gods. And I can imagine he already worshipped Yehovah coming from Abraham. But the religious landscape was a lot different in Jethro's day than it is in ours, So there are some things we take for granted. But now Jethro really does know. Like, his testimony has just been solidified that Yehovah is King of Kings. And that would solidify my testimony as well.
Yes.
Every time we see the hand of God, it strengthens us, strengthens our faith in God. So Jethro took a burnt offering and made sacrifices, and Aaron and all the elders eat bread with Moses and Jethro, which I think is fun. Then in the morning, after they have this great feast and make sacrifice, Moses gets up and starts doing the thing he does every day, which is judging all the people from morning until evening. You can imagine like a long line of people trying to seek the will of God from Moses, and it's just this really burdensome thing. So I think a lot of people are familiar with the story here. Jethro observes this, and he says, "The thing which thou doest is not good."
Like, son, I got some advice for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Jethro tells Moses that this is going to wear you out, Moses, and this is going to wear the people, and you guys are going to be broken from this, basically. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. So,
I like to say, it's just sometimes like in my own family, which is, a microcosm of Israel, right? Mm-hmm. In my own family, if we are doing something, and this could be like financially or, spiritually, or with like discipline of our children or use of our free time or whatever it is, hobbies or, good things that we have adopted maybe. If the thing that we are doing is not iterable, that means like repeatable forever into the future, then it's a bad plan. Like whatever it is that you do, it has to be, you have to be able to repeat it day after day, year after year. And there are like emergency circumstances, so I'm not talking about that, but I think Yitro recognizes that what Moses is doing is not going to be repeatable into the future. And when Moses dies, then what? Then, like you have to have a plan in place that is going to allow that. Otherwise, it's no good. It needs to be adjusted. Yeah,
and so Jethro
is wise enough to recognize that.
Yeah, and in his inspired wisdom, and maybe actually this kind of seems like off the cuff wisdom. I was going to say maybe he had already implemented this back home, but Moses would have seen that and known better. So this to me,
maybe, I don't know. Yeah. There's possibilities.
Maybe this seems like off the cuff moment of inspiration coming from Jethro, and it's possible that Jethro has less people to.
It's possible, yeah,
to govern.
It's possible that this situation has not arisen,
right,
in Midian, and certainly not in Israel until this point, right? Yeah,
exactly. So
I can see that.
So in this, what happens next is absolutely key. Jethro basically counsels Moses to establish a representative government.
Yeah.
And he specifically says, "Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness," key right there, "and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, and rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge," or they shall judge. I want to put emphasis there. "So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee." So Moses isn't going to be the only judge now. I mean, this is a system of judges that is established, and it's even repeated later by the Nephites. The Nephites progress from kingship back to judgeship later, back to that representative government. Now, I want to talk about why covetousness is so important.
I was going to say we should. I was going to ask you.
Okay.
To expound on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it seems interesting that like is among the. It's kind of a short list. I mean, it's able men.
Yeah.
Who fear God, men of truth, and hate covetousness.
Yep. And quick, can you just define covetousness real quick, just so we're...
Yeah, covetousness is, and we're going to get to this.
Oh yeah, we will.
This is the 10th of the 10 Commandments.
True.
Yeah. Covetousness is wanting your neighbor's things.
Whatever it is.
And it could be, anything. It could be your neighbor's property, your neighbor's wife, your neighbor's reputation, whatever. It's like... It's kind of commonly expressed idiomatically as like keeping up with the Joneses, like wanting the things that your neighbor has. Although it's
worse.
It's worse. It kind of conveys the sense of not just wanting the same kinds of things that your neighbor has, but wanting the things that your neighbor, like your neighbor's actual things,
like
not just an equivalent thing or something.
There's sort of like a connotation of plotting or conspiracy here, like this desire that will eventually lead to you taking from your neighbor.
Yeah, right.
And here's why.
It's an envy, and it's actually, the word is sometimes translated lust as well.
It is lust,
and lust is in our modern speech we think of lust as a sexual thing only, and it can be, but you can actually lust after. Goods, property, and lust after power, and lust after reputation, and all of those things.
Right. So here's the reason why covetousness is specifically mentioned regarding these judges or these politicians. I don't want to say politicians. These rulers, these co-rulers with Moses. What happens when a politician or a ruler wants everybody's stuff? They take it. Like we are under that system. We are taxed at 20% plus, which in the scriptures is seen as a grievous thing. To have rulers who are covetous means the people will be burdened. They
want the people's stuff.
They want the people's money, their riches. Yeah. And what are riches? What is wealth? What are the things you own? It's life force. Because when you combine your labor or time with the products of the earth, you are literally imbuing your life force into whatever it is. So how you spend your time and labor is like you giving your life force into something. And to have rulers who covet that and take that from you is a wicked thing. They're literally sapping life force from you.
Amazing.
So yeah, this is why Jethro instructs Moses to have men become judges who hate covetousness.
You can even covet like positions.
Yeah, that's true.
Like people would covet that seat on the city council, or covet that the position at work. Someone else's job. And so that it's kind of interesting. Like when I read that first, I really like your. Like coveting the people's things, because we have rulers that do that, but also, maybe you want to pick men who don't want to be in that position.
That's a really good point.
Because if there's someone who wants to be, like, make me a leader of 1,000,
Oh no.
I'm ready. I've been waiting for this my whole life, I really, really want to be in charge of 1,000 people. Then maybe they're not a good choice,
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Did you go see the David movie?
Not yet.
Yeah? Okay, that's fine. But in the David movie, Samuel comes to anoint David, and Samuel's like, "You're the one," and David's like, "No, I don't even want to be king," and Samuel, this is a paraphrase. Samuel's like, that's a remarkably good qualification for being king.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That makes me look inward, because I think we all want to be a piece on God's chessboard. We all want a part to play in this drama that's playing out, especially the latter-day drama with the destruction of wicked for 1,000 years and the establishment of the kingdom of God on earth. But this is making me be a little bit introspective. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe I should really humble myself and think about, what I actually want. And yeah, I love that. What I'm saying is maybe I should just humble myself and fully submit to God's will, or at least make sure I'm doing that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I will say one other interesting connection that people have pointed out is the prophet Samuel.
Yeah.
In the David movie. Actually looks an awful lot like Jethro in Prince of Egypt.
Oh, really?
So
I wonder if I wonder.
Some people think there was some inspiration there.
Yeah, that I can imagine there was. I mean, how could you avoid that? Like, what are the chances? Prince of Egypt is like one of the most popular biblical movies of all time, so that's funny.
And for good reason.
Yeah, for good reason. Masterpiece.
I want to point out one other thing that we read already, but in verse 16. It says that Moses is judging, and it says, "I make known to them the statutes of God and His laws." And this is like before Sinai has happened.
Yeah.
But Moses knows something about the statutes and the law of God, and he's teaching the people about it before they have even like covenanted to keep it. He's like telling, well, God, this is what God thinks about this and that, and so anyway, just more evidence for what we've been kind of saying all along, that the covenant that they're about to receive here is actually a renewed covenant, and it is the same. And the Book of Mormon says, right, this is the same law that God gave to Adam.
These terms,
a part of it at least, right?
A part of it. These terms are as old as time. These covenant terms, or these stipulations. I mean, yeah, Sinai was nothing out of the box. It was a renewal of a renewal, right? Wouldn't you say?
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So Jethro gives him this counsel and says, now you guys can endure if you do it this way. As a people. And Moses, you won't waste and wear out your life now.
You know what else it reminds me of? Joseph Smith in The Last Charge.
Oh,
he's like, now I've like rolled the kingdom off of my shoulders onto you, right? And now I can rest a while or something, he says. But this is so that the kingdom can progress. Like, if Joseph dies, then all is not lost, There's other men in place who have the burden on their shoulders to be judges, to be revelators, to be administrators, and also who can, in turn, like propagate it to the next generation. Right.
Yeah, this is kind of the same thing, isn't it? And another thing to mention, when we think of our founding fathers and the founding generation, I think many of us think, maybe it's because of the way we're taught in school, many of us think that Greece and Rome had a huge influence on our Constitution. They had some, but the truth is that the Israelites, this system right here that Jethro helps Moses establish, was like a bigger influence than Greece and Rome. Really? And this also the Anglo-Saxon tradition, which comes from this. We know that the Anglo-Saxons are descendants of Ephraim, and historians call this pseudo-history, but I don't think it is. You can trace how some of the northern kingdom, after it was dispersed by Assyria, you can trace how they eventually migrate through Europe after hundreds and hundreds of years and make it to the Isle of Britain. And fascinatingly, the early Anglo-Saxons had the same exact government enumerated here.
Amazing.
In the Bible. Captains of tens, 50s, hundreds, and thousands.
Interesting.
And so our founders were hugely inspired by that.
I mean, it's a good plan.
It is a good plan.
Yeah. I mean, it is by revelation.
Yes.
Inspiration. Can I share one from the Doctrine and Covenants?
Yeah, please.
Section 136. This is the revelation to Brigham Young. He's organizing... he's organizing the camp of Israel. Actually, it starts off the word and will of the Lord concerning the camp of Israel in their journeyings to the west. Okay, and he says, "Let them be organized into companies with a covenant and a promise to keep all the commandments and statutes of the Lord our God. Let the companies be arranged with captains of hundreds, captains of 50s, captains of 10s, with the president and his 2 counselors at the head. So, and this under the direction of the 12. So, anyway.
Very similar?
It's very similar, yeah. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the thousands,
right?
But this is the because of the numbers, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
So, I wonder if Jethro had, captains of 5s, 10s, and 50s or something, and hundreds, but not thousands or something. But he sees Moses' people as even bigger, and so he adds another layer or 2 layers or whatever is necessary.
Yeah, very well.
Just scale it up,
Right. That's super interesting.
Yeah. I have one more thing to read.
Oh, please.
From section 136. This is my favorite verse, and this goes right along with what we're talking about. The covenant just being renewed in each dispensation. Section 37, or verse 37 of section 136. Therefore marvel not at these things, for ye are not yet pure, ye cannot yet bear my glory, but ye shall behold it if ye are faithful, in keeping all my words that I have given you from the days of Adam to Abraham, from Abraham to Moses, from Moses to Jesus and his apostles, and from Jesus and his apostles to Joseph Smith, whom I did call by mine angel, my ministering servants, and by mine own voice out of the heavens to bring forth my work.
Wow. So we should keep everything from Abraham to Moses, and Moses to...
From Adam to Abraham.
Right, but
yes.
But Moses is included.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so, that's why we're here.
Right.
To discuss Torah, to help God illuminate it, hopefully.
Yeah. I think this, that instruction given to Brigham Young, there's a bit of a blind spot. I think we, as Latter-day Saints, and Christians too, they kind of look at from Jesus forward.
Yes.
Jesus to Joseph, and the Book of Mormon straddles that, but that was revealed in Joseph Smith, so that's kind of in this dispensation. But we kind of ignore the instructions given from Adam to Abraham, and from Abraham to Moses, and from Moses to Jesus. We ignore all of those sections. So
yeah,
that's what we're covering.
Yeah, we should pay attention, because this, again, Torah is the foundation for all other scripture. Like every other book of scripture, the prophets, the writings, the New Testament, the Book of Mormon, D&C, is an appendage to Torah. And here's why. Torah is the foundation. Torah has all of the laws and doctrines and rituals that end up showing up later everywhere else. I mean, there really isn't that much, if anything at all, that is not in Torah, if you know how to read it, if you know how to look. Mm-hmm. Everything is there. Even the endowment. Genesis chapters 1 through... Yeah. The endowment is in Torah. And there's evidence that it was actually used anciently as a temple text in a temple setting. So Imagine that. And Christ is clearly prefigured in Torah. I mean, Torah is everything. All of our rituals, washing, anointing, all that comes from Torah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we should. It deserves greater respect and love.
Why we're doing this? Because the Torah was, for ancient Israelites, including Jesus, including Yeshua, the Torah was their spiritual meat and drink, and it was what they would think about and talk about, and it was to sustain them through good times and bad. Yeah,
we're spoiled.
Yeah, it was what they would lean on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's sufficient, in my opinion. But I'm very grateful. We also have the prophets and the writings in the New Testament, Book of Mormon, D&C. I mean, all of that is so fantastic.
Yeah,
so
we're so blessed.
We are very blessed. We're very spoiled because we don't live up to what we have. We don't even live up to Torah, let alone everything else.
Right.
So let's do better. Let's go follow Yeshua.
Yeah.
Okay. So it says that Moses sets up this system of judges and everything's fantastic. The burden is eased and Jethro leaves. He goes back home. Remember, he's a prince or a king and a priest, and he has a people to help lead and guide. So Jethro goes home.
Although he's not far away.
No, not at all.
We're in Arabia. We're in Midian right now. So.
Right.
But
so he's just
he's a couple, whatever. A couple valleys over or something.
A messenger pigeon away.
Right.
A couple of valleys over.
Yeah. If you ever need me again, just send a pigeon.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be here in 48 hours.
Cool. All right. Chapter 19. Okay, we're approaching Sinai. So in the third month, which is
Sivan.
Which holy day takes place in the third month?
Yes, right. So this is really cool. It's Shavuot. Shavuot, also known as Pentecost. Mm-hmm. Okay, Pentecost is kind of the New Testament name for it, but Shavuot is Shavua is the Hebrew word for week, and so Shavuot is weeks because it's basically 7 weeks after Passover. After
the Exodus.
Yeah.
So this is...
It's not exactly Passover. It's 7 weeks after first fruits. But
right.
First fruits is like connected with Passover. We'll talk more about that, I think, when we get into Leviticus.
Yeah.
But basically, Passover and first fruits are kind of in the middle of the first month, just a little bit past the middle of the first month. And so you count 50 days, and a month is
28, 30.
Yeah, 29 is 29 days.
Like
29 and a half.
Yeah.
29 and a half days, so 29 or 30 days. Anyway, so you count 50, and basically you're going to come to like the first week or so of the third month is when Shavuot is going to be. And Shavuot is a big deal. It's one of the 3 pilgrimage festivals.
Mm-hmm.
And and it is also traditional. It's not explicit, which is really interesting. It's not explicit, but there's very strong evidence that the covenant that was given at Mount Sinai was given on Shavuot. And this is cool because the kind of the symbolism of Shavuot is like God's covenant making day.
Shavuot. And this shows up in the restoration, but it also shows up before the children of Israel at Sinai.
Yes. It shows up back when Noah receives the covenant, the rainbow covenant. And we know that was we know from modern day revelation that was a renewal of the covenant made to Enoch. So which was a renewal. Shavuot.
Yeah, Shavuot for sure. Yeah. And then in Latter-day Saint history, the Lord tells the saints when they move to Kirtland and Missouri, He has a covenant. He will give them a new law, and it's literally either on Shavuot or of that year, or like right around Shavuot that the Lord first reveals consecration as a new covenant.
Yeah,
and so Shavuot is indeed the season of.
I'll tell you a couple covenant. Other. So of course in the New Testament we have the day of Pentecost.
Yeah,
which is
same thing,
which is Shavuot. Yeah. And then we have in the Book of Mormon when Christ comes to the Nephites at Bountiful. This is there is dispute about this, okay, but maybe we'll talk about this later, I guess. But it's definitely, in my opinion, a Shavuot. Shavuot is the time.
Yeah,
is the reason why everyone's gathered to the temple.
Yep.
So this is amazing. And then again in modern times, in this dispensation, the restoration of the Melchizedek priesthood is at Shavuot, and actually the giving of the endowment in the red brick store is done on Shavuot as well. So this is God's covenant making day, and this is a day that is important to Latter-day Saints. Okay, I mean, even Torah aside, we have priesthood, endowment, and law of consecration, like in this dispensation. God using his calendar, giving those on his covenant-making day.
God always keeps his appointed times.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. So
amazing.
Even if the humans involved aren't even aware of it,
right?
Which at times in the Restoration that was the case, and maybe every time that was actually the case, because I don't know how many of the early saints were aware of like the Jewish calendar or the rabbinic calendar.
They'd inherited the Protestant mindset about those things, which is that those are done away. Those are God has nothing to do with that stuff anymore. We can learn from that. There's a symbolism and so on, but God's not doing those things anymore or requiring those things anymore.
Yeah.
Au contraire.
So it's good to pay attention to those to the 7 holy days. It really is. Okay.
So I will say the Jewish date for this is always the 6th day of the 3rd month. So here they are, in the third month. It says, in the self same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. That's kind of interpreted as like the beginning of the 3rd month. Mm-hmm. There are some other translation, like in the Book of Jubilees. I know it puts it like at the 10th day when they arrive there, but either way, it's going to be like the 6th to the let's see, plus a week, I guess. So 6th to like the 13th or something like that, where Shavuot's going to fall. It's interesting. Shavuot is the one holy day that actually doesn't have a specific date given to it.
In the scriptures.
So
there's debate. There are different traditions.
And that causes there to be a little bit of wiggle room, and if there's also kind of some mystery about it.
Which is, I think, that's fine.
Yeah.
Keeping it is what's important in the season thereof.
Right.
You know? Yeah. That's interesting. That it's the one holy day. Yeah,
that doesn't, and which is also cool because amazingly, the day when God comes down on the mountain and gives the 10 Commandments, they don't say what day that was.
So wiggle room, right? I mean,
yeah, they don't say what day it is, even though this is like the most important day in like the founding, like of Israel. But I think it's because it was Shavuot, and that's a day that is not, the date's not given.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, excellent. So we jumped the gun a little bit, but that's okay, on purpose. Yeah, so they're in the 3rd month, which is the month of Shavuot, and they're here to receive, they're at the base of Sinai to receive the law. And so Moses goes up to God on the mount. And God says, "Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you on eagle's wings." That's an interesting phrase that shows up later in the book of Revelation and some other books, I think. "And brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine." I just want to talk about peculiar treasure. I mean, that's beautiful, just that phrase, in my opinion. And a lot of the times when we use the word peculiar, we might think strange. The Lord is always calling his people not to be strange, but to be to run completely contrary to the traditions of the world, which are often very wicked and unenlightened and unfruitful. God is calling his people to be the most sophisticated...
like unique.
Unique.
Unique is what peculiar means.
Right. The most sophisticated and holy and advanced and loving people in the entire world. That's what a peculiar treasure is, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then the next verse, God says, "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel." So God wants to have an entire kingdom of priests.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think some other... I think it's in... Let me just take a minute here. Let's see, what verse is that? 19?
Yeah.
6.
19:6.
So, this goes just to what you were talking about, like the endowment being in the Torah, right? So this is sometimes interpreted in kind of a weak way, I think. A weak way. Ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. So, some people say this means that Israel is going to be like a kingdom or a nation that has priests.
No.
Why do you laugh at that?
Because it's just lame.
It's lame. Like, yeah, we are a nation that has priests. Like, okay, literally every single nation has priests.
And some of them even had legitimate priests, like Midian.
Right.
Has legitimate priests.
Right. And even, yeah, right. So, a lot of the Targums actually have a much stronger language, though.
Sweet.
It's not just a nation that has priests and has a king or something like that. But so this is Targum Pseudo Jonathan. Let's see, get the glare off of there. It says, "And before me, you," speaking of all of Israel, "you shall be crowned kings and sanctified priests and a holy people.
Wow.
These are the words that thou shalt speak to the sons of Israel."
Cool. That's pretty amazing.
So, yeah. The nation made of kings. A nation made of priests. Not just a nation with priests.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's what we're called to be.
Kings and priests.
That is what we have the endowment and higher things for. They convey to us the keys of knowledge for teaching us the eternal patterns for actually becoming a king and a priest.
Yeah.
Because a king and a priest isn't completely based on receiving the outward ordinances. It's who you are.
Yeah. And in the endowment, it's not... I'm just going to beat this drum a little bit. Mm-hmm. We don't get made or promised to be made kings in the world. We are called to be kings and queens, priests and priestesses, to rule and reign in the house of Israel forever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is
the house of Israel.
This is what's going on right here.
That, in the endowment, this is what Yehovah is telling to Moses right now. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, guys. You heard it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go follow Yeshua.
Go follow Yeshua. Ascend the mount.
Oh, man.
As Yeshua did.
Powerful.
Okay. And so Moses, calls for the elders of the people, the bearded ones. I love calling that. The Hebrew word for elder means bearded one, literally, and I love that.
Yeah, but I think it means like gray. I think you have to have some gray.
Okay, yeah. I'll have to get some dye.
To work, get some bleach.
Yeah. Or no, never mind. I won't say that. Yeah, I'll just use bleach. Okay. So Moses conveys to the elders everything that has just transpired. God's offer of a covenant relationship. God is making the offer, and Moses is the mediator. Okay.
He is the mediator.
And so all the people answer together, and they all agree. They want in on this covenant relationship. It's very reminiscent of King Benjamin.
Right. Right. It is.
This is actually a covenant renewal ceremony, very similar to what's going on with King Benjamin. Mm-hmm. So all the people want in. And the Lord says to Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. And be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall surely be put to death. There shall not any hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned, or shot through, whether it be beast or man. It shall not live. When the trumpet soundeth long, they shall come up to the mount. Okay, so that's the instruction God gives to Moses. So they're not supposed to go near this mountain. They need to be ritually pure in the next few days. They're even commanded not to have intimacy within marriage. Like, God is calling for ritual purity and not to touch the mountain, basically.
Yep.
In preparation.
2 days. 2 days of preparation, and then the third day, it's going to be the day.
Which is, 3 days is a common theme in Scripture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so Moses goes down from the mount after having this encounter and sanctifies the people and gives them all this instruction. And then Moses brings forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. And the people are standing...
On the third day.
On the third day, and the people are standing sort of like far away from the mountain, right? Like they're...
Yeah, they're down. Well, yeah.
The mountain is in view.
Yes.
And they're standing in view of the mountain, but they're not touching it.
Now you're in verse 17, right?
Yes.
Can I back up to 16?
Yeah.
On the third day in the morning, there were thunders and lightnings.
Right.
A thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of a trumpet exceedingly loud. Now that trumpet is like we think of a brass instrument.
Yeah.
With the valves. But the trumpet, scripturally, there's two kinds of two instruments that are translated as a trumpet, but this one is a shofar. And a shofar is a ram's horn, or like the horn of some animal that's been been taken off of the skull and drilled out, so there's a mouthpiece to blow.
And when we think of Moroni, we always think of the brass trumpet, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's more correctly thought of as him wielding a shofar.
Could be, yeah.
Because that is the warning trump,
Now there is another trumpet that's just like a straight, long. It kind of looks like what Moroni, but they would be made of silver.
Right.
We'll get to that later. I'm going to get to Numbers, I think. Maybe in Exodus, I don't remember. But anyway, we get introduced to that as well, and those are used sometimes as well, ceremonially. But usually, most often in the scriptures, when a trumpet or a trump is mentioned, it is an animal horn.
A shofar.
A shofar, yeah.
Cool. Thanks for pointing that out.
And this is the first mention of the shofar here, which is pretty cool.
It's a really good occasion.
It's actually, yeah, I'll say it's interesting because in the New Testament we have this, and in the Old Testament as well, where at the second coming says the Lord will descend again, and it will be with the shout and the sound of the trumpet.
Yep. When
he descends in the clouds. So here we have this cloud, and the sound of the trumpet, and the fire and all that.
It's calling mind. It's meant to be connected.
It's meant to be
this
connected.
Is not
That's exactly right.
Yeah, not an accident. Anytime there is like similar imagery in Scripture, it is not an accident.
Right. It's a code.
Yeah. What is it called? The most hyperlinked document
it is
in the world.
Yeah.
So Jordan Peterson points that out.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And it says that Sinai was on a smoke because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke is ascending and, it's billowing. This is some crazy stuff going on here. It looks like Sinai is on fire right now.
Yeah. It's like a volcano.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And the voice of the trumpet sounded, and it grew louder and louder. And Moses spake, and then God answers him.
Yeah. You know, I guess I have one thing to say about that.
Yeah.
In the New Testament, it says Moses spake, but doesn't say what he said. But in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 21, it says, "And so terrible was the sight that Moses said, I exceedingly fear and quake."
That's what Moses said.
That's what Moses said, or at least part of it. We don't have that in the Torah, so like whoever's writing this is actually quoting from some lost document or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
And that's not even in the Septuagint?
no,
Wow.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wonder if it was in the brass plates.
Right? Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Amen.
Which is funny, but you can only imagine the full glory. The Lord can veil his glory. The Lord isn't holding back here for some reason.
Oh my gosh!
Like, he is going all out right now.
And the descriptions in some other, I'll mention them when we get. But the descriptions in some other documents are make this experience 10 times as frightful.
That's and you know what he's doing? He's showing the people, not because he wants them to be afraid, but he's showing them who he is, the omnipotent God of all,
creator of the universe,
the creator, the most high God of all the nations. Despite what all the nations say, you know, Yahovah is the most high God.
Yeah, like before this, like Jethro was like, man, those things that happened in Egypt, like Yehovah is the most amazing God ever of all the gods, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't seen nothing. When they get Sinai, this tops, in my opinion, as far as like the awe factor. This is like 100 times the awe, as you know, the cattle are getting sick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We got some boils. Okay. Oh, there's a swarm of locusts. That's pretty bad. But when you see what's happening on Sinai, it's incredible.
You see, I can imagine a massive pillar of light descending upon Sinai and just setting the thing ablaze, and then you hear God's voice, which is often described as the rushing waters in Scripture. I actually know a few people who have heard the literal voice of the Lord, not just a still small voice, and they describe it as like literally rushing waters, like a symphony of sound that they hear with their whole body, not just their ears. So imagine that symphony of sound, those rushing waters echoing from this burning mountain. I mean, like, what an awesome sight.
I'll just, since we're on it, I'm just gonna read a part of this.
Yeah. Please.
Let's see. Okay. This is verse 17, so we're right there. Moshe brought forth the people from the camp to meet the glorious presence of the Lord, and suddenly the Lord of the world uprooted the mountain and lifted it in the air, and it became as luminous as a beacon, and they stood beneath the mountain. And all the Mount of Sinai was in a flame, for the heavens had overspread it. And he was revealed over it in a flaming fire, and the smoke went up as the smoke of a furnace, and all the mountain quaked greatly. And the voice of the trumpet went forth and grew stronger.
Wow. Guys, this is heaven and earth uniting. This is a temple space.
Yeah. Now, the rabbis, they actually, and for good reason, they assign marriage significance to this.
That's very fitting.
This is where God is going to give the terms of the covenant. This is essentially a ketubah,
a marriage document,
a marriage contract, and God says. And this is what Moses. God tells Moses to go and see if they will accept his proposal, right? Like he says, go down and let's see. What do you say? Therefore, if you obey my voice and keep my commandments, you shall be a peculiar people to me, and be a nation of a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Okay, and then Moses goes down, and the people accept. And so, in the Jewish wedding ceremony, they have the canopy that's over the bride and groom. They're called the chuppah, and then they make their vows. So the rabbis see these ancient depictions of like the mountain being uprooted as being like the wedding canopy, and God's like giving his vows, and Israel saying we accept. Anyway,
hey, the marriage feast happens after the actual wedding ceremony, right?
Yeah,
and well, we'll see that in next portion, or one after that. There is literally a feast associated with these encounters at Sinai. There is a wedding feast or a marriage feast.
Okay,
right? Am I wrong?
Well, Shavuot is a feast,
but I mean a sacrament. The elders.
Oh yes,
there is quite literally a marriage feast.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Which is like I just realized that right now.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Very cool. Well, remember, even if you're a man, you are the bride of God, and so it's time for us to start keeping the terms of the covenant.
Yeah, amazing.
Cool. This is awesome, man. Okay. So the Lord comes down upon Sinai on the top of the mount and calls to Moses, and he says, "Come up." And Moses went up, and the Lord says to Moses, "Go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto the Lord to gaze, and many of them perish. And let the priests also, which come near to the Lord, sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break forth upon them."
Can I stop there too?
Yes.
The priests?
There were already priests.
There are already priests, yeah. The priest says, the priests which come near the Lord sanctify themselves.
So, okay, let's talk about this for a sec. Do you think that when Israel sins and the priesthood is restricted to Levites and descendants of Aaron, do you think that all previous priests are unconsecrated at this point?
Ask your question again. You mean like in their apostate condition?
Well, no. I mean, because they're a priest right now.
Yes.
And they're not Levites or Aaron.
Oh, right.
Right, but do you think that when the priesthood is confined...
I see what you're saying.
Do you think all previously consecrated priests are... No. So you think they just died out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so either. I don't think the Lord would...
No.
Do
no.
that.
And actually, I think even though later on we'll find out like that Aaron and his family kind of get the right to the priesthood, I don't think that means that the rest of the tribes were restricted from it. They just didn't have it by right, but they could have it by ordination.
By merit, right?
Yeah.
Ordination, which merit would be involved in that. That's fascinating. And furthermore, we're talking about Aaronic priesthood. I mean, right. But Joseph Smith taught that all the prophets had Melchizedek priesthood. So there was also a... their Melchizedek priesthood was perpetuated somehow from this time, even if the scriptures make it seem like there was only Aaronic priesthood now. Somehow Melchizedek priesthood was transmitted and perpetuated.
Yeah, I mean, and in this case, I think it was in Midian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So Moses tells the Lord that the people can't come up because you charged us, saying, don't let them come up the mount. Don't even let them go super close to it. And so the Lord says, go down and grab Aaron and bring Aaron up, but not the priests and not the people, so the people and the priests aren't destroyed. So Moses goes down,
and the people are like, fine by me.
Yes.
Wait, you want us to go up? No.
We're good.
We're good. Yeah.
So Moses goes down to get Aaron, right? And God speaks all these words.
Oh, all 10 of them.
Do you want to read?
10 words.
The 10 words?
Sure.
Cool.
Okay.
And has Moses gone back up with Aaron yet?
No, I think Moses is down in the camp.
And God is speaking to everybody.
Everyone can hear this.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And God spake all these words, saying, I am Yahovah thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahovah thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. There's a couple of things we got to talk about. Should we talk as we go along, or you want me to just keep reading in my Ten Commandments voice?
I might add an echo to this in the editing, so whatever you want, whatever you think is most appropriate right now.
Okay. Maybe we'll just keep reading.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and comment.
Sounds great.
Cut this out, and we'll just go. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahovah thy God in vain, for Yahovah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor, and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahovah thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahovah made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore, and Yahovah blessed the Sabbath, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yahovah thy Elohim giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Solid.
Okay. Yeah,
this is
good.
like, and Jews call this the 10 sayings.
Yeah, or the 10 words.
The 10 words. All of Torah, and these are a big deal because all of Torah can be summed up with these 10 commandments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
there's a song that my kids like to sing. Like we like to sing it as a family around Shavuot time. It's the 10 Commandments song. But it goes, should I sing it for you?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10 Commandments. You'll discover how to love God and each other when you keep the 10 Commandments. God first, no idols, don't misuse God's name. Worship and rest, honor your parents, this will bring God fame. When you keep the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 10 Commandments. You'll discover how to love God and each other when you keep the 10 Commandments. No murder, no adultery, don't steal, don't lie, don't covet, now I know you're gonna love it, by God's grace you're gonna fly. When you keep the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 10 Commandments. You'll discover how to love God and each other when you keep the 10 Commandments. Keep the 10 Commandments.
There you go. I love that.
Yeah.
And
so you discover how to love God and each other. These are the 2 great commandments, right?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
All other commandments and rituals and the gospel of Yeshua the Lamb, they are summed up in these 10 commandments.
Yeah.
Everything. And so they're a really big deal. And there are specifics within this umbrella, like ritual instruction, but ritual instruction is how we show love to God.
That's right.
Keeping the rituals and with
right.
an open heart, with a broken heart.
They are a sign from us to Him.
Yes.
That we are His faithful bride.
Yes.
They are our wedding ring.
Oh,
And make us beautiful to Him.
Wow, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else were you going to...
So I think each of these, or some of these, kind of deserve some commentary, I think.
Okay.
So, first of all, when he says, verse 4, shall not make any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, right? So we're talking about idols and idolatry. And, in the ancient world, like, idolatry was a big thing.
Yeah. Still is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's idolatry by a different name, but it amounts to the same thing. But yeah, the ancient peoples, they would worship their gods through idols. Now, there's always there's going to be variations among people, I guess, but ancient people, for the most part, I think they knew that the statue they made wasn't the god.
That's
it's kind of a misunderstanding that modern people have about ancient people.
Those dumb ancients who thought, no, that's not how it worked.
No, but they used these idols, these images, as like a medium or something.
They would do a ritual.
This is a representation of God,
right,
of their gods.
They would do a ritual where they would pray or something like that the god it represented would breathe his spirit into the idol, and now the idol was sort of a medium for the power of the god they were praying to.
And so this is, I love that you said that, actually, because this ties right in with what I wanted to say. So here, Yahovah says, do not make anything in my likeness. And you know why? It's because he already did that. When man was created, they were created in his image and likeness. In other words, mankind is our God's images, and he breathed into us his spirit. And so he says, don't make any idols to represent me, or to be my the medium through which you communicate or whatever. You, my children, are my images, my image bearers, who bear my likeness, and I have breathed my spirit into you. So there's a lot of deep things about that.
Yeah.
But okay, I wanted to mention this. It says that God is jealous. We've talked about this before, but jealous. A lot of times we think jealousy is a negative thing, but really what we're thinking of is envy. But jealousy is being protective of something that is yours. So when God says he's a jealous God, that's because we are not paying attention to him, but we belong to him. Right? But he says that he will visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Okay, so there's going to be, dominoes that fall, basically. But then he says he's going to show mercy unto thousands of them that love me. Thousands of them, what is them? Thousands of individuals? No, it's thousands of generations.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right? So those who hate me, 3 and 4 generations, but showing mercy to thousands of generations of them that love me and keep my commandments. So a thousand generations. Well, it says thousands of generations. Mm-hmm. So minimum of 2,000, I guess. So how long is a generation?
There's debate, like 50, 70 years.
Okay.
100 years.
Oh, let's do shorter.
50. 25.
Let's do 40.
40. Okay.
40 times 2,000. So what's that? Can you do the math?
800? No. 800. Yeah, 800. No. 40 times 2,000. That's 80,000. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 80,000.
80,000 years. Mm-hmm. So God says, from this point, 80,000 years into the future, I'm going to love those who keep my commandments. In other words, like this is still on the table.
Wow.
God's commandments are not. We're a long ways away from 80,000 years. How long ago was the Exodus and all this?
It was like 3,500 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, a drop in the bucket to 80,000 years. What that he's promising.
Amazing. I want to talk about this one too.
Yeah.
So, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. I mean, that sounds kind of cruel, but it's about how covenant curses work, how generational curses work. Wicked fathers, wicked parents will teach their children dysfunction, and those children will perpetuate that dysfunction, which entails sin, harm to man, and harm to God, right? Because harming your fellow man is harming our God. It's not that God is going to punish the children and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren for the sins of the fathers. It's that it's the way, it's natural law. It's how dysfunction is perpetuated.
Right.
So this should be major motivation for you and us to be the best and holiest and most righteous parents we can possibly be. Because our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren will have a very hard time. At some point, one of these generations is going to have to do the hard work of clawing their way up the cliff and breaking out of a generational cycle or a generational curse. And why not just do it for your family? You know, why make one of your grandchildren do that when you can do that right now? And I know,
Amen.
and I know many of us have had to do that, and it's not easy, especially when you've made major mistakes and have had to repent for grievous sins along the way. I mean, the whole thing is just, it's extremely difficult. So let us keep the law now. Let us follow Yeshua now.
You may need to apologize to your children. Be like, Dad has not been doing his duty, and I want to start from this point, and things are going to be a little different.
Yeah.
But do it. Yeah.
And it hurts to admit the truth, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Even to admit the truth to your wife and children every day, or your spouse and your children every day. It is so worth it to have that open heart and to admit when you're wrong, admit when you've done wrong by your loved ones.
I love that. Okay. Go on. Okay, take the name of God in vain. Does that mean you're swearing? Is that taking the name of God in vain?
You know, that's I think there's a range of meaning, but I know that that's probably not the primary meaning.
I would agree, not the primary meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what's your thoughts? What is a more primary meaning?
Yeah, more primary meaning is like making covenants that you don't intend on keeping. But I think there's an even more primary meaning, and it's related to idolatry. It is invoking God's name, the name of Yehovah, in idolatrous practices for the purpose of obtaining some benefit from your idolatry. The reason for idolatry is to obtain blessings, right? Like you pray to, you do rituals and pray to a certain God, so you'll have rain on your crops, that kind of thing. So it's invoking God's name in improper idolatrous practices is how I understand it. But also I think falsely covenanting fits as well.
Falsely covenanting, falsely promising things, in invoking God's name, and I think another application of this that is very displeasing to God is false prophets. Who claim to come in the name of God or be God's representatives when God has not sent them.
You know who hated that? The prophets. They lament.
Oh yeah.
Because the false prophets completely undermined the prophetic institution.
Yeah.
So I'm talking like Isaiah and Jeremiah, where they were dealing with false prophets speaking peaceable things into the ears of the king,
vanity, lies,
everything's going to work out just fine, and the prophetic institution of the ancient Near East was actually really fascinating. So,
okay, good. Seventh day. Amen.
Easy. I love Sabbath, dude.
Sabbath is great. I'll say, just there's a lot that could be said about the seventh day, and there's a lot of controversy, and we're not going to be able to. If you have questions about the Sabbath, put them in the comments, and Elior will respond to them.
Probably, I will.
I don't watch the comments really very much, but I'm glad that you do.
I'll respond.
Okay,
just be nice.
Yeah. So, just one thing to think about, one interesting thing to think about, because a lot of people say the Sabbath was moved to, it was like delayed to the 8th day or the first day. Now
Sunday,
yeah. But if you look at the big picture, and we have this in Doctrine and Covenants 77, God says the entire earth, like these cycles of creation, goes through a weekly cycle. That's what I should say, of 1,000-year periods. And the millennial day, is the Sabbath of the world, and God is still planning on it being the 7th 1,000 years. And so, hopefully, God has not changed his mind. Is no, we'll do another 1,000, and we'll put the millennium in the 8th 1,000.
Oh.
We'll just give you another 1,000 years to wait. I hope that God actually hasn't changed it, that he's still going to keep the plan which was established at creation, right? This is the language he's invoking.
I can't imagine this world going on another
1,000 years.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Anyway. Okay.
Just real quick. The apostles in early Christianity did not change the Sabbath. That is a complete misreading of the New Testament. And that is all I'm going to say on that note.
Yeah, we're going to do the New Testament next year.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into that in more detail, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Honor thy father and mother. Anything to say about that?
Well, I didn't do that as a kid, so sorry, Mom. I gave you such a hard time, Mom. I love you, and Dad. I mean, I was a brat. Okay, when I turned 17, though, a switch flipped, and I just chilled out for some reason. I just realized, I don't need to be so mad all the time. I don't. I just realized I should be cool, right? So, but anyway.
Okay. Lots of dispute about this, I think, sometimes. Especially if you have parents who are unbelievers.
Yeah.
How do you honor your parents if your parents are heathens, so to speak?
Or bad people.
Just, heathens.
Yeah, right.
And I think each person is going to need to have some revelation how to deal with those kind of difficult situations. Excuse me, yawn. But I think the best thing you can do to honor your parents is to honor God, and then you will be that will be a credit to them. If you ultimately, even if they don't appreciate it now, when they get to the pearly gates, the judgment bar, and they have a child who was able to take what good they had and magnify it, then they'll be proud of you. But I think on a bigger scale, I guess, honoring your father and mother has to do with it's not the same as obeying them. It doesn't say obey, actually. Honor them. We obey God, but we honor our parents. So I think you can do that especially as parents age. Honoring them includes, giving them the respect and also helping to care and even provide for them sometimes. I mean, Jesus chided the Pharisees in his day because they were not helping to provide for their aged parents because they found this loophole, right?
They were saying, no, we're giving all we have to
God,
to the ministry.
Yeah, and
it's dude, the more fundamental commandment here is to love your parents here and
that's right,
provide for them. Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. This honor and shame culture isn't so prevalent anymore, but to honor your parents is, like you said, to bring honor to them.
You're right.
To to live a life that brings them honor, even if they don't regard it that way. But like you said, it's to obey God and to help him build his kingdom and to contribute to society.
Yeah, to be an upstanding, contributing member of society, even. Mm-hmm. So that if you were to be in the same room as your parents with some friends of yours who have never met your parents, that they, not knowing your parents at all, would say to them, "Your son is such a good man." You know what I mean? And they'll be like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
You know,
pleasantly surprised, right?
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thou shalt not kill.
Oh.
Which means, like, we should get rid of, like, capital punishment.
Amen.
And self-defense is like a no-no.
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
We should be like
pacifism.
Extreme pacifists.
Yeah.
No, that's not what it means.
I actually have heard Christians who are extreme pacifists who make, like, claims like, if someone came, like, entered my house, broke into my house with a gun, I would rather let them shoot me than defend myself or my family, because this is what Christ would want me to do.
It doesn't make any sense. And I used to kind of have that tendency. But it doesn't make sense, because God wants a righteous people to perpetuate on the earth. Mm-hmm. I mean, he needs... It's good to defend your family. Regardless, like, it's good to defend your family, and especially if you guys are helping God build his kingdom. Yeah.
I will say, in Hebrew, just like in English, there's actually different words for kill, which is kind of a generic, like a broad term, and murder, which is a specific term. So, and in here, the word is actually murder. Thou shalt not murder is the actual commandment.
So we're talking homicide.
We're talking, yes, homicide, premeditated, malice aforethought, killing.
And this isn't this
of an innocent person, right?
And this isn't even talking about heat of the moment killing either. I mean, maybe to a degree it is.
Yeah.
But it's that premeditated first degree murder that this is especially referring to. Because later on, there are provisions in Torah for those who accidentally killed their neighbor in the heat of the moment.
Right.
Which is second degree.
And even accidental killings as well.
Yeah.
No, as another. Like, the head of your axe slips off, you know? Like,
right.
Not even in the heat of the moment. It's totally just accidental.
But second degree murder, which is heat of the moment, is that very serious crime, right? Horrible thing. But this is like, I think this is especially focusing on the first degree.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So, the scriptures actually have these gradations. That's very similar to our modern day, U.S. and state laws. So this is not talking about pacifism. This is not talking about abolishing the death penalty. In fact, the Torah is all in favor of the death penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some crimes that cannot be repaid. Well.
Yeah. And you know what? It's okay, because Mormonism is in favor of the death penalty too. Actually, you might be interested to know, and maybe our listeners, in the Torah, the 5 books, right? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, we have the commandments laid out. But a lot of times there's overlap. There's like commandments that are repeated, multiple times for various reasons. But there's only one commandment that's actually repeated in all 5 books. Want to take a guess?
Well, you've told me before, and I'm thinking it's...
Trying to remember.
Is it thou shalt not kill, murder?
No, but it's related to that. It is thou shalt put murderers to death.
Oh, okay.
You must execute murderers.
Execute first degree premeditated murderers.
That's right. Yeah. That is the one commandment that's repeated through every book. So.
Yeah, and we could get into natural law, but like if you take a life, how do you repay that? Like, you can repay most things,
Yeah, or at least partly.
At least you can make reparations or restitution for most things. But anyway, that's kind of a controversial topic. So
okay. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. We've talked about it already, I think.
Yeah,
but,
we have.
Adultery, yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, gosh, no. Well, I'm gonna wait till verse 17 to talk about that. But okay, thou shalt not steal. Okay, that seems self-evident. Although I will say that a lot of ancient, scholars, ancient thinkers, they were under the they interpreted this "thou shalt not steal" as a particular kind of stealing, kidnapping.
Oh.
And partly is because it's like there's like murder, adultery, and then which are both capital offenses. Mm-hmm. And then kidnapping is a capital offense as well. Mm. But just petty theft or whatever is like you give the property back or you bring the sheep back or whatever. Yeah. But it's like they would. We're going to get to this in the next Torah portion. But Exodus 21 verse 16. You want to read that?
Yeah. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. And a man is a man, a woman, or a child.
Yeah, right.
He that stealeth a human being,
in order to sell them as a slave.
Yeah. Or just for whatever.
For whatever. For ransom or whatever.
Yeah. Wicked.
Yeah.
Deserves, yeah. I like Torah.
Okay. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Okay. Now, when I learned this growing up, it was thou shalt not lie.
Yeah.
Which there's other places in the scriptures that talk about lying. Mm-hmm. Lying generally, but this actually is a very, again, it's like thou shalt not kill. It's not talking about any kind of killing. It's a very specific thing. It's murder, first degree. And this, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, is actually talking about
judicial proceedings.
Yeah, it's about making false accusations.
Remember, this is a representative judgeship, so judicial proceedings are kind of like a huge part of the culture here. You know?
So it's making false accusations or giving false testimony in during a trial or an investigation. Mm-hmm. Now I love the Torah's punishment for bearing false witness. Do you know what it is?
Can't remember.
It's really easy. It's the most, in my mind, it's the most poetically, obviously just punishment that you could imagine. And this is what it is. And it's in Deuteronomy. If you want to look at it, I probably won't quote it right now. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 19, 16 through 21. And this is the punishment for bearing false witness or like making false accusations. If it's found that you have done that, then you will get the punishment that the falsely accused would have gotten if they had been found guilty.
You better avoid that then.
Yeah.
Oof.
And I love that because in our modern society, that is not a thing. Mm-hmm. You can say this man raped me or whatever and ruin someone's life, and they find out that it was all made up and hundreds of thousands of dollars and ruined reputations later. The person who made the false accusation there's no criminal penalty. It happens. That happens very, very often
in this world. Imagine going to jail for 10 years, missing your children grow up. Your wife left you because you couldn't do anything. It's like, whew. Yeah, I think false witness does deserve. I think that is like perfect. The punishment. It
is perfect. It's inspired.
Because if you're bearing false witness for something like not as serious, what you're doing is evil, but you won't get as serious of a punishment.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna bring this to a modern example, and this is kind of a hot topic in Mormonism right now.
Uh-huh.
And that is the controversy over whether or not Joseph practiced polygamy.
He did.
I wasn't going to get into it, but whether you believe it or not, okay, Those who disbelieve it, or deny it, or whatever, the monogamy affirmers, or whatever they want to be called, they will say, I mean, I've heard it many times. They'll say, if you are a member of the church and you believe that Joseph Smith was a plural husband, then you believe that Joseph Smith was an adulterer. Mm-hmm. Like, you are accused. If you say that Joseph practiced polygamy, you are accusing him of being a liar and an adulterer, mm-hmm. which is totally a false accusation, because a faithful member of the church. There are people who believe that. Okay, anti-Mormons or whatever, people who have left the church, who feel like Joseph Smith was a bad guy. They probably do feel like he was an adulterer, but there are plenty of faithful members of the church who believe Joseph Smith was plurally married and do not accuse him of adultery. But the polygamy deniers will accuse them of accusing Joseph of being an adulterer, which is a very dangerous thing to do, because adultery is a capital offense. Therefore, falsely accusing someone of committing adultery is a capital offense. Mm-hmm. And therefore, accusing someone of committing adultery is a capital offense.
Wow.
So, serious. So, people should not be throwing around accusations like that. So sloppy in their language. Just, like, obviously false. Anyway, that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah. Important commandment to keep.
Yeah. Okay, 17, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. This is, we could spend hours on this as well, but it is interesting that coveting is, out of all these commandments, coveting is the one that is there's no punishment for.
Really? Because it's a thought. It's in the heart.
It's invisible.
Right, but it leads to these former.
It leads to all the other things.
Yeah. This seems to be the thing that is hardest for people to kick, because it's in the heart. It's not outward, and this has prevented the saints from becoming Zion, from becoming a city of Enoch. Coveting each other's wives and each other's property, coveting their own property that should be consecrated, because
you covet your own. That's right. That's what was Martin Harris.
Martin Harris
was told that. Yeah,
it's the right. Lord. Everything is the Lord's. So coveting is actually the hardest commandment to keep, I think, because all of these other outward ones, most normal people are willing to abide by.
Yeah.
But this problem of coveting, it seems that it has stopped the saints from becoming Zion probably
over and over.
Probably actually every single time in history, aside from the Nephites, Salem, and the city of Enoch. This one thing has prevented the saints from becoming Zion.
So this is a simple fix. Like, we know the problem.
Yeah. So just stop coveting.
Do it. Okay. Rough.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to when Yeshua gives the Sermon on the Mount, which actually I believe is also a Shavuot.
Yeah,
I believe that this is on the day of Pentecost. That he gives this Sermon on the Mount. But a lot of Christian interpretations of this is that Jesus is giving us a higher law, and like he's like undermining the old law, or like replacing it with this higher law.
That is,
and one of the examples that they give, and is I'll read it here. This is Matthew chapter 5, starting at verse 27. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, whoever looketh upon a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. So there you go. This is the higher law. Jesus is saying, whoever lusts after a woman. But when people say this, I just smile, and I know that they have not read the Old Testament in a while, because this here, when Yeshua warns about looking on a woman with lust, he's not talking about the 7th commandment, which is thou shalt not commit adultery. He is talking about the 10th commandment, which is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Mm-hmm. And you remember, covet is the same word as lust. So he's saying the 17th commandment could say, or 17th verse, 10th commandment, sorry, thou shalt not lust thy neighbor's wife.
Yeah.
And wife, by the way, one last thing.
Yeah.
Wife in Hebrew is woman. Isha is wife. So when Jesus in the New Testament says, whoever lusts after a woman, there are actually Tyndale's translation of the New Testament. It was whoever eyes a wife. That was his translation of lusts after a woman. Yeah. Commits adultery. He's talking. We know that it's adultery. We know that the woman that Jesus is talking about is someone else's wife because he uses the word adultery. Right. You've committed adultery.
And adultery is a specific sin.
Right. You don't commit adultery, by coveting a single woman. Okay?
Yeah, and
or by coveting. I've heard. I'm sorry. I keep.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I've heard married people struggle with this commandment sometimes that Jesus gives in the commandment. This explanation that Jesus gives at the Sermon on the Mount, and they're like, I have lustful feelings for my wife or for my husband. Like, am I committing adultery? Like, with my spouse? Have you heard anyone say that before? Oh, I have.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, whoa, you guys are so far out in left field. It's because you've just removed yourself from the scriptures, and you're just imagining things that, I don't know, it's crazy. Jesus is not talking about desiring your spouse, or if you're a single man looking for a wife and you see someone attractive. This is not what Jesus is talking about at all. He's talking about looking at other men's wives with covetous, lustful intentions.
Now, there is something to be said about learning to not see other human beings as objects or as means to ends. But I totally agree with what you're saying. It's a marital. It's in relation to marriage.
Right.
And what really bothers me, and I thought this for a long time, is when people think that the Sermon on the Mount and the gospel is the higher law. Jesus literally recapitulates or re-gives Torah. Nothing on the Sermon on the Mount contradicts Torah. All the things that appear like higher laws, like you just pointed out, are already in Torah.
100%.
It is
without exception.
Without exception. The thought that Jesus gives the higher law is one of the worst misconceptions about the Sermon on the Mount and the gospel that exists. And I hear it all the time in Mormonism, and it really bothers me, but I don't say anything every time. But everything Jesus says is in Torah. He's recapitulating Torah. Or like Joshua said, this is a Shavuot observance of some kind. And so he's on the Mount recapitulating Torah.
Right.
Everything he says is in Torah. So, and there is scholarly literature on this. It's clear. It's almost irrefutable.
Okay.
Soapbox done.
Okay. Moving on. That's what we finished the 10th there. That's kind of our brief elaboration.
Okay, a couple more verses to read.
Yeah, we're almost done. Some more important things, though.
Okay, and so the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise and the smoking mountain, and the people move far away. They're freaked out.
Yeah, I need to comment on this too, and then this is the last verse I need to comment This is actually really weird. Actually, like you can read it, and you just, if you don't read it closely, you don't realize how strange this is. Mm-hmm. It says they saw the thunder. It says they saw the thunder and the lightning and the noise of the trumpet. They saw the noise of the trumpet? What does that mean? And the mountain smoking, and when the people saw it, it says it again, it repeats it. They saw these sounds.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, remember, this is Pentecost. So, the Hebrew word for thunderings there is, if you look in the Hebrew, is actually kol, which is a voice. So it says they saw the voice. And the word lightning there is actually the word for like flame or torch.
Okay.
So they saw the voice and the fire.
Wow.
And they saw the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And there are a lot of, well, okay, so let's go back. So we're going to tie this to the Pentecostal experience that happened in the New Testament.
Yeah, I can already see it.
So in the New Testament, the apostles, they're at the temple. Why are they at the temple? Because that is where everyone is commanded to be on Shavuot.
Pilgrimage.
Boom. The temple is the mountain of the Lord. So ancient Israel here is at the mountain of God, the mountain of the Lord. In Jerusalem, they're at the temple, which is the mountain of the Lord. And there's people from all around the world, it says, in the book of Acts, right? And why are they from all around the world? Because it's pilgrimage time. So there's Jews from different, who speak different languages.
Jews from Egypt, Jews from
Syria,
Persia.
Yeah, right.
Jews from
Greece,
everywhere.
Spain, probably even, right?
The world has been Hellenized and Romanized. I mean, the world is a bigger place than it was more anciently.
Right. So of course there's like gift of tongues and interpretation of tongues, and okay. But when we say tongues, I mean we have our physical tongue, but tongue is also language, right?
Yeah.
But on the day of Pentecost, they actually see tongues of fire. Yeah?
Yeah.
Like above everyone's heads or whatever.
I picture pillars of light.
Okay.
I think it's an idiom.
Yeah. Okay. But they see they see fire spreading out among the people, and there's this outpouring of the Spirit. So in this experience at Sinai, or Sinai, when they left, you remember when they left Egypt, they came with a mixed multitude of people.
Yeah.
So there was people from all over the world who spoke all different languages. And the Talmud says that when God spoke on the mountain of the Lord, that all the people from all the 70 nations, that everyone heard in their own language.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it said that when the voice came down, that there was fire that came down and ran through the camp.
Wow.
And then back up the mountain, and then onto the tablet, onto the sapphire table, right? And then the thunder, the kol, the voice spoke again, and like they could like see the voice, like the fire was like dancing like sound waves or something, and everyone could hear in their own language, but also see what was being said. And then the fire would go throughout the camp and all over everything and everyone, and then back up the mountain, and then strike another line on the tablet.
That's amazing.
Amazing, right? So I'm just going to read this explanation in Targum Pseudo Jonathan. And the Lord spake all these words, saying, the first word, as it came forth from the mouth of the Holy One, whose name be blessed, was like storms and lightnings and flames of fire, with a burning light on his right hand and on his left hand. It winged its way through the air of the heavens and was made manifest unto the camp of Israel, and returned, and was engraven on the tablets of the covenant that were given by the hand of Moshe. Okay, and then the second, I'm going to skip a little bit. The second word which came forth from the mouth of the Holy One, whose name be blessed, was like storms and lightnings and flame of fire. A burning light was on his right hand and his left, and was borne through the air of the heavens, and then returned and was made manifest unto the camp of Israel, and then it returned and was engraven on the tablet of the covenant. Anyway, and it goes on like that.
Sweet.
But I have one more, like a Book of Mormon thing to say about this too, because I mentioned that Christ's appearance at the temple at Bountiful was Shavuot, and amazing, like this Jewish tradition that's in the Targums about them seeing the sounds and being amazed by it is actually shows up in the Book of Mormon. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is, let's see, 3rd Nephi, chapter 17. Verse 16. And also, there's all kinds of, like, there's other traditions too. There's also angels, like, that came down, like, among the camp of Israel and stuff. And this is something that we see here in 3rd Nephi too, right? Yeshua is there at the temple, which is the mountain of the Lord. And there's fire and angels come down and minister and all of that. And he gives explanations of the Torah again, right? Something very similar to the Sermon on the Mount, as well as other things. Okay, but it says here, after this manner do they bear record let's see. Sorry, I'm going to back up to 15. When he had said these words, Yeshua, he himself also knelt upon the earth, and behold, he prayed unto the Father. And the things which he prayed cannot be written, and the multitude did bear record who heard him. And after this manner do they bear record. The eye hath never seen.
Whoa.
Nor hath the ear heard before so great and marvelous things as we saw and heard Jesus speak.
Well, there you go.
And no tongue can speak, neither can be written by any man, neither can the hearts of men conceive so great and marvelous things as we both saw and heard Jesus speak.
I'm not surprised. Like, when Joseph teaches that spirit is a form of matter, including the Spirit of God, which fills the immensity of space, and that is his glory. His glory is his spirit, which is his light. Well, if spirit is a form of matter, matter is a form of stored energy. And so spirit is energy. And sound waves are related to that. So I'm not surprised that there seems to be some visual aspect to God's speech as he utters words. I mean, it's all related, and so that's quite amazing.
It is amazing. Totally amazing. So, okay.
All right.
Let's go to continue.
Yeah, okay. So, they tell Moses you can talk to us, Moses, but we don't want God to talk to us because we're going to die. They're afraid of the glory of God right now. And Moses tells the people not to fear. God's come to test you. Take courage. And he's come to test you and to show you how great he is so you don't sin, right? So you know how serious this is. And the people are still standing afar off, but Moses draws near. Moses goes into the cloud, right? The pillar. And the Lord speaks to Moses, and he says, "Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Ye shall not make unto you gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold." And that's it. So he's echoing the commandment not to commit idolatry, and he's specifically telling them not to make gods of silver or gold.
Okay, we need to do a little correction. Because the Torah portion, Yitro, goes to Exodus chapter 20, verse 23. We said that at the beginning. But I actually failed to check, and there is a difference. Sometimes there's occasionally a difference between Jewish and Christian versification, and for Exodus chapter 20, the Jewish verses, actually the chapter ends at verse 23, but that is the same as verse 26 with the Christian numbering.
Well, so the Lord explains that the people shall make an altar of earth unto him, and that's not usually how it's depicted, it was surprising for me to read that, even though I've been through this text before. I guess I missed it every time I ran through Exodus.
Yeah, it gives two options.
Yeah, an altar of earth, like a flat top mound, I would imagine.
Yeah, you pile up
dirt. And make the top flat.
Yep.
And that's an option for a legitimate altar. But so God explains they shall make that for sacrifice and burnt offerings and peace offerings, and that they shall sacrifice their sheep and oxen in all places, quote, where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. Okay. Anything to say about that verse?
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, so the other option, which is in verse 25, is an altar of stone.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, we'll get to that, I guess. But the thing that stands out to me, in verse 24, it says, in all the places where I record my name. Or where my name is. And... so that actually, there's some debate, I guess, about whether it's proper for there to be only one place at a time, only one at a time on whom this the keys will be conferred. 132 joke, but that didn't come off very well. Or whether there can be more than one place where his name is placed. Where his name is, where sacrifices can be legitimately offered. Certainly it needs to be a legitimate place, but the question is, can there be more than one legitimate place? And for Mormonism, for Judaism, let's start. For Judaism, at least modern Judaism, rabbinical Judaism, they basically say, really it's one at a time. In ancient times, the tabernacle and the altar that was at the tabernacle, it actually it moved around, right? And eventually, even when they came into the Promised Land, the altar or the tabernacle was in several different locations before finally settling in Jerusalem, and then eventually that went from a tent of skins to a building of stone. It was permanent, and they're looking to rebuild the temple on that same spot, or at least as far as they can tell. However, anciently, there's archaeological and textual, ancient documents, textual evidence for all other legitimate altars being built in several different places. The one that's most prominent in my mind is there's two Israelite temples in Egypt. This was after the Exodus. This was during the time of the kings. And in fact, the temple that was in northern, so lower Egypt, northern Egypt, around the delta, there's a city there. It was called Heliopolis or Leontopolis, and there was a city or a temple there. There was a Jewish colony, I guess, there, community. Probably this is actually the Jewish community where, Yeshua, Joseph and Mary took little baby Yeshua when they fled from Herod and hung out in Heliopolis, where they had a temple.
They were gone for a few years. It does not make sense that they'd go and live on their own for a few years, but
right.
That they would go to a Jewish community, a functioning Jewish community.
So that temple there functioned from about the time of the Maccabees, a little bit earlier. So this is the story that that is Hanukkah celebrates. They this temple, and I forget the year, so it's probably roughly 200 BC, maybe a little less than that, 200 to 170 BC, somewhere around there, where the temple of Onias was built in Egypt, and then that temple was functioning until the year 73. So the temple in Jerusalem, it's kind of well known that was destroyed in 70, but then the temple in Leontopolis was destroyed a few years later. I think the Romans kind of like realized, oh wait, there's another Jewish temple over here, like let's get rid of that as well. And those temples were operating like in parallel, and the Talmud actually has commentary about the temple in Egypt there, and they said it was there's definitely a rivalry, but they did say that the sacrifices and the vows and the priests that were operating there were all actually legitimate.
They had the keys.
Yeah,
they had the.
It was recognized,
and that's during Second Temple Judaism. We have like examples during the First Temple religion. I don't know what you would call that religion. There's different names for it according to scholars, but like Yahwism and things like that. But the Israelite religion, I guess, there's examples in the scriptures of multiple temples functioning at once. And
so during the first temple, that was when that's when the temple in Elephantine was built.
Okay.
So that was during the first temple period, and then in Leontopolis was during the second temple period.
Way cool.
But now, so that's all very interesting, and like it's archaeological, and there's like theological implications of this too. But if you're a Latter-day Saint, then you know that multiple temples are allowed and even encouraged, because we have the Book of Mormon people, right? Lehi, and they come here, and Nephi, the Nephites separate from the Lamanites, and the first thing that Nephi builds is a bunch of swords. The next thing that he builds is a temple, right?
Yeah.
Temple like Solomon.
That's funny.
And then there's several other like New World temples that are mentioned. Besides, right.
So
Zarahemla and Bountiful, besides the one in Nephi.
And it says, they shall do this in all places where I record my name. I just think that means where a space has been dedicated by proper priesthood authority.
Right.
To me, that's the proper interpretation.
Yeah. Joseph Smith said God's people are always... There's a standing command. He says they are always commanded to build temples. And he says when God's people are poor, they can go to mountains. And when they're rich, or rich enough, they're commanded to build a temple. But they're always commanded to build a temple. So, okay. The other thing that's interesting here, I think, about these altars is that these instructions in verse 24 through 26 are to everyone, to the children. Verse 22 says, "Thus shalt thou say to the children of Israel." So this is not instructions to like the Levites or whatever. But this is instructions to the children of Israel generally, like when you build altars. And it is true that that when there's a temple in operation, that the commandment is to bring the offerings and things to the temple. This is what the pilgrimage times are for. But it's also true that if you are outside of like a 3-day radius, then Israelites can build their own altars and do their own offerings and stuff. And we actually have examples of this with Lehi, right?
It's quite amazing that Israelites were allowed to do that who weren't Levites.
Yeah.
Like, that's just mind-blowing to me.
Amen. Yeah. Now there's this seems to be kind of a general instruction. But there's other arguments that can be offered on Lehi's behalf. He may have, he was a Melchizedek priesthood holder.
Yeah,
right? This is the testimony of Joseph Smith. But I think that there is room here potentially for even Israelites who don't hold the Melchizedek priesthood, for anyone to be able to offer a thank offering at any time. So, okay. Last thing, it says in verse 26, make sure that you don't have steps going up to the altar.
Mm-hmm. So it can't be... Never mind. I won't bring... You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
No.
Can't be those Mayan temples.
Oh, right. You know what? I was actually going to bring that up.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Because, yeah, those are steps up to the altar.
Mm-hmm.
And so, actually, like, archaeologically, when they're doing excavations throughout the Holy Land, they can actually tell, unquestionably, which altar, if they uncover an altar or a site where there's an altar, whether it's an Israelite altar or a Canaanite altar.
Because the Israelite altars have no steps.
And the Canaanite altars, and Egyptian altars and Babylonian altars, like all the other altars, they have steps up to the altar.
So those stepped altars would be like ziggurats?
Yeah, well, there's probably a various sizes, but yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes they have like an altar like at the top of a temple kind of structure, but sometimes it might just be like a raised platform,
Well, and the reason for no steps is because they wore like robes.
Right.
They were open on the bottom, and so
God says nobody wants to see that. So
yeah, so a gradual ramp.
Yeah, so they'd always have a ramp up to it. Yeah, or I suppose be low enough that a ramp is not. That there's nothing necessary.
No ramp needed or anything.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it for now. That's the end of this portion, and so yeah.
Okay.
Anything to say before we jet?
No. Just so glad that you're doing this with me.
Oh yeah, man.
And this is great stuff. This is powerful stuff. This is world-changing stuff.
Yeah.
Like whether you have, before this point, whether you have appreciated the Torah or not, the Torah has shaped the world probably more than any other book.
It's true. It has to be true.
Yeah.
Because Torah is the foundation of the New Testament.
Or books, I guess, yeah.
Torah is when Zion and the kingdom of God are finally fully ushered in, Torah is the foundation of those things. I mean, every law by which the people of Zion will operate is straight from Torah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Go follow Yeshua. Till next time.
Till next time.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom, shalom.